Hello, all, and welcome to this hands on lab. In our lab today, we will learn how to bulk unload data from an Amazon Stream table to a S3 bucket. Couple of things to keep in mind before we continue further ahead. AWS services used in this lab can incur charges, hence, ensure that you clean up all resources after completing this lab. Prerequisites for this lab is knowledge of Amazon Timestream. Hence, if you do not know what this service is all about, please refer to this overview tutorial that I had created some time back. The URL to the tutorial is mentioned right here at the bottom. I will also have it mentioned in the description of this video. Now, since this lab is about unloading data, that essentially means that we need some data that is already preloaded in an Amazon Timestream database and table. So I've created two labs in the past. One is using the sample database, right? And the other one is actually doing a batch load of multi-measure data from a CSV file to a S3 bucket. So I would recommend that you complete either of these two labs, right? Either one of them. You don't need to complete both of them. Either one of them. Or if you have an existing Amazon Timestream database and table, you can use that as well. If you ask me, my personal preference would be that you complete the batch load hands-on lab, right? Because that's a very specific standard database and table in which we are loading some custom data, right? But if you want to go really very fast, you can use this lab as well, because the lab at the bottom, the single and the multi-measure databases lab, that uses a sample data that comes along with the Amazon Timestream service. But you definitely need to complete either of these two labs, or you need to have at least some sample data in your Amazon Timestream database and table. Just a second. Okay, I think for whatsoever reason, my battery is running low. So hopefully that is fixed now. Okay, so let's continue further ahead. So these are some reference URLs right here, right? So I will have these URLs posted in the description of this video, right? Refer to these URLs. These URLs do have additional information about this particular service. Scenario for our lab today, as I mentioned earlier as well, we will be unloading data from an Amazon Timestream table as a compressed CSV file, and we will be storing it in a S3 bucket. So it's a pretty simple, straightforward scenario. So let's get started. Step one, as I mentioned, is loading the data. Remember, to unload data, you have to have some data that is already present. So you can complete any one of these labs. As I said, this would be my personal preference. But as long as you have some data in your Amazon Timestream database and table, you are good. URL to these labs is mentioned right here at the bottom. I will also have these URLs mentioned in the description of this video. If you do not want to do this lab, just use an existing Amazon Timestream database and table, right, with some preloaded data. All that you need is just some, maybe a handful of rows. That is more than enough as well, right? So this is step one. In my case, I have completed these labs, right? So you can complete this lab and then come back over here. Step two is to provide access to Timestream and S3. So if you have completed this particular lab, you've probably already, done this step. Your user already has access to Amazon Timestream and S3. But just in case, it's always good to check, right? If your user does not have access, please ensure that these two existing policies are associated with your user. So in my case, I've already again completed step two. So I'll be continuing further ahead. Step three. In step three, we need to create a S3 bucket. So go to Amazon S3, create a bucket. You can give whatever name that you like, but ensure that it's in the same region as your Amazon time stream. And as always, copy the S3 bucket name on a notepad. So let me go to my console, and this is S3 right there. And we can create a bucket over here. So I think my time stream was in Ohio, so I'm going to go there, right? And I'm going to say my time stream unload bucket, right? So this is my bucket name. Okay, let me just, before I create this, let me just double check my region for time stream. I don't want to go ahead and make that mistake. So databases. Let's see if I have anything. No. Let me go to Ohio. I believe I have a database and a table over here. So yes, that's my database and that's my table. So I need to create my S3 bucket in the Ohio region, which is US East 2. Okay, let's go back to S3. Seems AWS is a little slow today. Okay, thank God it came back. Okay, so create bucket. And that's US East 2. And my time stream unload bucket, which is a very good name. Did I? Yeah, I copied my name over here. Everything else is going to be default, so you should be good. And click on create bucket. Now, if you would like, you can always go ahead and create folders within your bucket. That's totally up to you. If not, you can directly use the path of the bucket as well. So we have basically completed this particular step. Next thing is to verify data. So let's go to TimeStream. Let's go to Query Editor, right? And we need to select a database and table, and then ensure that we have some data in our table. So again, I am going to go to TimeStream. Right, so that is TimeStream right there. Let me just favorite it. It gets added to my favorites bar. Okay, and let me go to Query Editor. Right, so that's my database as chosen over there. This is my EC2 table. It's an existing table from my previous lab. And here I'm going to say select star from matrixdb.ec2. And here's hoping that I have some data over here. So I have 99 records. So we have basically verified that our database, our table exists, and we do have some data in our table. Okay, so now since our data is loaded, everything is ready, it's time to unload the data. So again, we'll go to Amazon TimeStream Query Editor and then run this particular query. So if you see this query, it is basically saying unload, then the select statement, then to S3 bucket. Again, you have the bucket name and the folder name if you have a folder, and then the format. Now, the format that we are going to use over here is CSV. The other format that you can use along with CSV is Parquet as well. And if you want a compressed file, which I would recommend, I mean, in our case, it's only 99 records, but let's say in real life, you might have a ton of records over here. So compression is always good to have. So if you want compression, it is basically the value for that is gzip. So this is that particular query. So let me go back here, right? And if I can go back and just copy this, that will make my life a little simpler, right? Paste it here. Now I'm going to say select star from, and then my bucket name. And then let's go to query editor, right? And I'm going to paste my query here. So let me zoom in a little so you can see. Right, so it is unload select star from, and then we have our name. So let me delete this. Metrics db dot, what is that? EC2 to a S3 bucket. Now, what was the S3 bucket name? My S3 bucket name was this. Okay, so I'm going to put my bucket name right there. I don't have a folder, so I'm going to get rid of the folder name. In your case, if you have a folder, please provide a folder name, right? With format CSV and compression. Okay, so I think our query is now ready and we are ready to unload data from Amazon Timestream to a CSV file and store that CSV file in a S3 bucket. Right, so let me zoom out, right? And let's click on run. So it's saying it's invalid syntax, unload so and so, view more. Okay, what is wrong with my syntax over here? Okay, let me see if I can get this in one line. So if you get these errors, do not worry. Sometimes you might have some special characters or something like that. I think I got it right this time. Format CSV, right? And then, okay, and let me also remove this space in case there are any special characters or anything that come in. Okay, so let me copy this, put it back over here, right? Again, copy this from here. The reason I'm doing this is basically to ensure that there are no special characters, and paste it over here. So now hopefully this thing runs. Okay, it still didn't like it. Okay, so I think I have all of my values mentioned correctly. It is saying that it invalid syntax as 331, so line 3, right? And then 31. Okay, let me see if I can remove compression. Looks like it's working without compression. Okay, so that's good. I'll get back to compression later, but at least now we got our data exported out. All 99 rows have been exported. Let's go and look at it in S3. So, okay, so it seems by default also it made a file with compression, which is okay. So let's try and open it. Let me download the file. Let's see if this is with compression or without. Okay. Let's open that particular folder. I think I had it over here. Yeah, so let me go here. And this is my file right there. Okay, so let me go to downloads again. Right. Oh, it is actually with compression by default, which is a good thing because compression is on. Okay, extract. Okay. And this is our file. So let's go and look at our file. So this is our data, right? So you have the host name, you have the region, the location, the matrix, and the values. Now, this file that I have over here, the other file, that's what I want to show you. Hold on. This is my sample batch load that I had done from my previous lab. Now, if you go and look at this particular file, this actually has 100 rows, right? And if you see, it has the column names on the top. Now, the way time is stored over here, it is stored, or at least the way it is picked up by Excel, let's put it that way, it comes across as a scientific number, right? So let's say instead of opening it up in an Excel spreadsheet, if we open this up in a notepad, this is what you will see in the original file. So it has the column names on the top, and this is how the data was originally given to us. Now, if I go and open this particular file, right, the one that we have extracted out, right, so let me go back to my downloads, right, this is where we extracted the file right there. And now if I open this with Notepad, you will see that the date time format, right, the timestamp format has changed. So this is the first record over here. And if you go back to this one, this is the first record over here. I'm trying to look for the same record. I think this is the one, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, this is the one, VMD. So let me just bring this down over here. So this is VMD and this is VMD. The way the data is extracted out is different, especially the timestamp format. And that has been one of the biggest challenges that I have found with Unload, because you definitely unloaded the data successfully. But for whatsoever reason, let's say if you had to reload the data, right? Maybe, put it somewhere else, I guess. Then this particular format does not, especially the timestamp format, does not work with Amazon Timestream. Also, this has 99 rows, right, instead of 100, because it does not have the column names on the top. So you will have to actually type out or insert the column names in between. So that's one of the biggest differences that I have found. Most of the other information, if you see all of this, like 76.47 and 57.17, that is all good. All of this information between matrix and all the dimensions mentioned over here, all of those are also good, but it's only the timestamp data that is not in the correct format. Now, another thing that you should also note is that when you unload the data, right? Now we've unloaded this data. Does that mean that the data was deleted from the original table? The answer to that question is no. So if I go back and run select star from, right, you will see that all the 99 rows are still present over here. So unloading is just a dump, like you just want a data dump out. You can do that, but that does not purge the data in your table, right? So that's something that you should keep a note of. Now let me see what happened with compression. I'm not quite sure. So let me go and look at one of the reference links over here. Let me see if I can find this particular compression. Okay, so this is one of the reference links. Okay, and if you face the same error, feel free to go there and check it out. So I believe compression is gzip mentioned right here. So let me just copy this, right, and then paste it over here. And then I'm just going to say select stuff from over here and make it very simple, right? And then to my S3 bucket. So I'm just going to copy my S3 bucket name over here. Okay. Format and with compression. So let me comment that one. Let's try and run if this works explicitly with the compression information given. So let me click on run. Okay, so this time it did work with compression information given. I guess I had something incorrectly mentioned. Maybe there was a special character or something like that. But hey, this thing did work. Let's go to S3 again. And we should see a second file over here. So this is a second file, right? Created at 5:07:52. You can see this also has compression and it will have a similar data. So hopefully this was helpful, right? Do try out this particular feature. It's really very handy, especially when you need to give a data dump to someone. You don't need to go crazy. You can just extract the data out and give it to that particular individual. So that's it from me today, guys. I will see you in some other video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.